Welcome back, geniuses. In the previous video, we talked about the skill of focus. Today, we're going to talk about the practice of meditation and how it can impact our focus skills. There's no doubt about it, daily meditation is proving to greatly improve focus. Now, what exact way of meditation? It really doesn't matter as far as relaxing, because when you relax, your brain makes synapses, and the main idea in all meditational practices is to quote unquote empty your mind. That is zero thought or as few thoughts as possible. When you do this, you feel a lot of thoughts raging in your brain. When you try to focus on no thought at all, you will feel your brain being filled with a lot of thoughts. And what you're doing is awesome, because you're giving your brain a rest, and those ideas that will come to you, it is your brain trying to repair this synapse, build this synapse, modify this synapse, destroy this synapse. It does what it's supposed to be doing when you're asleep. So when you take that time and stop thinking, because when you think, you're giving your brain the order to do this or do that. And so your brain is too busy obeying your orders, and it doesn't take time to repair and modify and adapt. It's just like a muscle. Like, let's say we're talking about your biceps, your arm muscle, and basically imagine you are constantly lifting a weight all day long, non-stop. Your muscle is not going to have time to repair. It's not going to have time to rest, so it's not going to be effective. Over time, its effectivity will drop. But once you give it, be it just a few minutes of rest, then it can repair and it can relax. And actually, to be a little bit into details, it's as if your muscles or your brain are contracting a debt when they are working. It's as if the energy money of the body is ATP, and they got ATP stores, and they're gonna deplete them. So it's like, let's picture this in your brain or in your muscle or anywhere. You got a lot of energy, but that energy is like oil. So energy is stored in that, but it cannot be used right away. That is, your brain or muscle might have that energy in the form of sugar, mainly in the form of sugar for the brain, but elsewhere it is sugar and fat. And so it does have that energy, but if you give your brain the order to think of this or think of that, it cannot access this energy. It needs some quick access energy, like energy that it can have right away, energy that could be like electricity. Well, for the body, that energy is called ATP. And the problem is, be it the brain or the muscle, all our organs, they can only hold a tiny amount of ATP at a time. So when you give your muscle the order to lift a weight real quickly, it consumes all its ATP, and then it doesn't have any more energy and it gets weak. But if you give it the order to perform the action, it consumes its ATP, then you give it a few seconds of rest, it's gonna bring some oil, and actually it's not oil, it's sugar, and it's gonna burn it to make some more ATP, and then it will be effective in lifting the weight again. Then it's gonna consume that ATP, then you're gonna give it some rest, so it takes some more of that sugar, burn it into ATP, and use the ATP. Same thing goes along with your brain. Your brain, you're constantly using it all day long. You're consuming all your ATP, so you got to give it a little time to build some more ATP from the sugar that it has. Of course, there are many more mechanisms to explain why meditation and relaxing is so powerful for your brain. but this is just a simplistic way to look at things. The other equivalent of meditation would be sleep. Now, sleep is like a bigger meditation. Sleep is the time and space where your brain is repairing. Actually, you are working when you are sleeping. Your brain is working to repair whatever damage it endured, to pay for all the debt that it had. And really, without sleep, we die. Without sleep, we cannot focus. So get enough sleep to be able to focus and meditate. Now, studies say that 10 minutes meditation per day seem to be enough to get really a lot of benefit. 10 minutes are nothing. And if you think it's wasted time, think twice, because those 10 minutes are going to give you so much brain power that you're going to save time later on. So these 10 minutes are like saving time for the rest of your day. And how you do this? Well, you get into a comfortable position. Of course, you want your brain to make endorphins, the hormones of pleasure. Breathe deeply, because, well, your brain needs oxygen, and because when you breathe slowly, you put in more oxygen. You know, it may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but slow breathing brings in more oxygen than rapid breathing, because rapid breathing is also shallow breathing. So you may be like putting in 40 breaths per minute and think like, okay, I'm putting in more oxygen because I'm putting more breaths per minute, versus that slow guy who's putting in just 20 breaths per minute. But with every breath, you're putting in just like 0.3 liters of air, when he is putting in 2 liters of air with every breath. So 2 times 20, that is 40, while 0.3 times 40, that is 12. Yeah, I'm good at mental math. Anyway, so slow and deep breathing puts in more oxygen, and if your brain lacks oxygen, it gets anxious, and there is no point in meditating. Meditation is about calming your brain down. If you have a lack of oxygen, it will stress your brain up a lot. Now, actually, to be more scientifically accurate, it's not the lack of oxygen, but the excess of carbon dioxide. Whatever, you don't care about that. Anyway, breathe deeply and count from 100 down to 1 slowly, and try to focus only on the numbers. Like you count 199 and try to focus only on the number 100, only on the number 99. Now, meditation, they say you have to focus on nothing. I find it too difficult. Maybe with a lot of practice, it becomes easier. But for a beginning, just 98, 90, 97, focusing on one thing is easier than focusing on nothing. So focus on the numbers. Now, the reason why I don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go 100 all the way down to 1 is because it allows me to know when to stop. I stop when I reach 1, but when I go 1, 2, 3, 4, then it's easy to go 101, 102, 103, and you gotta constantly try and focus and not go 101 like you decided to stop at 100. So you gotta focus on, am I there yet? I should not go 101, I should not go 102. But when you count down from 100 down to 1, then you're highly not likely to go like 0, -1, -2. That is just not intuitive. And focus on a single thought. Now, it is a very bad idea to tell yourself, for example, let's say you're meditating and you're trying to forget a problem you had with somebody at work. Do not tell yourself not to think about him or her, because that will only make you think about him or her. Such as when I tell you, do not think of a black cat. I'm sure you have thought of a black cat with its blue eyes and its hair and so on. You just have seen it. I cannot tell you, do not think of a tiger, and you will not imagine a tiger. You have just imagined a tiger right now. So do not tell your brain what not to do, tell it what to do instead. So do not tell your brain not to think about that person. Instead, tell your brain to think about the numbers. So you must give it something to chew. If you want it to stop thinking about that person, give it what to think about instead. And do not care if it thinks about that person. Just keep telling it, think of the number, think of the number, think of the number. Also, you may like notice the first time a distraction comes by in your mind. So maybe first time you're not trained, you'll be like 100, 99, 98. 98, you think of your car or of some distraction. And after a little bit of practice, you'll be able to go 100, 99, 98, 97, and no distraction until you reach 80. Then after some training, you may have your distraction at 40, and with super training, you will not have a distraction at all, and you would have trained your focus muscle. And actually, this capability to meditate from 100 down to 1 is a training for focus, and it is a proof that you can focus, and as such it is a skill, and you know where this is going. If it is a skill, then you should visualize yourself having that skill. You should fake it, like pretend to have that skill until you have it. You should affirm that you have that skill, tell yourself that you have that skill, and you should repeat this visualization process and repeat it with emotion.